I was on my way to the doctor to get my drugs filled. I'd only lived there for a few weeks, still in disarray over the loss of my love, my father, and my money. Staring at the ground, watching one foot go in front of the other, I noticed my neighbor washing a car in his driveway. It was a nice car. I thought to say hello. I looked at him and lifted my chin. "What's up?" I said in a friendly manner. "What the fuck you looking at?" he replied. I quickly turned my head and went back to my business. I noticed a purple tear was tattooed under his right eye. I'd heard somewhere that means he'd lost a close friend or family member to the mean streets. I made my way to the clinic, and there I began waiting in the hall to sign in. There was a young kid at the desk, and he was taking forever. It took so long that the lady behind him finally spoke up. "You're holding up the line." The kid quickly turned around. He raised up his hand as if he had a gun. "Am I robbing you?" he said with his hand in her face. "I didn't say you was robbing nobody." "You said I'm holding everybody up." He aimed his hand at the rest of us. "I didn't say you was robbing nobody. I said you're holding up the line." "Don't fuck with me, bitch." The kid turned around and picked up an empty trash can from the floor, lifting it over his head. "I'll smash you, bitch! I'll smash you!" The lady moved away from him with her walker. "I'm calling 911. The kid dropped the trash can. "Call him, as long as you tell him what really happened." Ma'am, can you please wait over here?" The receptionist pleaded. The kid paced back and forth across the room, yelling into her phone. "Tell him what really happened. Tell him what really happened." "Ma'am, please, can you just wait over here while I get through with him?" About an hour passed, and I finally got signed in. I walked down the long and winding hallway. Pictures of Obama everywhere, and pictures of black children posing as professionals. A singer, a cop, a fireman. Along the halls there were people who were worse for wear, their heads sunk into their hands, looking miserable as can be. Everyone waiting for their number to be called. Waiting and waiting. It takes some getting used to. I finally got to my doctor's office and found the door was shut and the lights were off. So I sat in one of the empty seats that were set out in the hall, sitting patiently in the darkly lit hall as one by one the hall cluttered up with people. The seats filled up quickly, and soon they began jabbering. "How come you didn't come to Jamal's funeral?" the lady sitting next to me asked a woman standing up. "I didn't know your son got killed. It was last week over at Hutchinson Valley." "Well, which one was he?" "He was my second. He just turned 18. He got shot over, what they called him?" She asked her husband sitting next to me. He was in a wheelchair. "Bloods and Crips," he replied sanctimoniously. "Yeah, he was at a party in one of them other gangs, or which one was he in, Bobby?" "He wasn't in no gang, he was just over there partying." He looked at his legs. "And a bunch of boys from another gang showed up and just started opening fire on everybody that was there. And my son turned and tried to run, and he got one in the back and it killed him. And his girlfriend got one in the butt." "Yeah, ain't that some shit? He gets one in the back and gets killed, and she just gets one in the ass." I guess he'd preferred they both been killed, rather than just his son. When I finally got into the office, which was just another waiting room, I sat and waited some more. Eventually it was lunchtime. 4 hours I'd waited thus far. They closed the door and locked it and left me in there, assuring me I would be seen. So there I sat, reading my book. Some elderly women sat across from me. I couldn't help but overhear their conversation. "I've got Jesus in my life," one stated. "I know everything's gonna be alright as long as I just keep on loving Jesus. I've got the Holy Bible in every room. I call it HBO. The Holy Bible, yes ma'am, I got HBO in every room." The other one asked kindly what it was she was being seen for. Well, I got this aching pain in my vaginal area, and it weren't from no donkey dick nigger either. I don't go messing around, no ma'am. At the desk there was an enormous woman bent over talking to the receptionist. Her head was almost touching the ceiling, her ass stretching out from wall to wall. I need to see the doctor. He needs to give me my prescription for a cream that I use. It's for my herpes, yeah. It's a cream that I use, so it's important that I see him today. She turned around. Not a bad-looking face, but terrifying from the neck down. She stood in front of me, looking into the glass window that peered into the hall. She was looking at her reflection and fixing her hair. I sat behind her reading my book, or at least trying to. She turned and started flapping her arms to loosen up the sleeves on her jacket. Will you pull this for me? She asked in a promiscuous tone. Slowly and carefully I did my best to pinch the very end of her sleeve with my foretips of my finger and thumb. She pulled out the other way, folded it, and then squeezed into the seat next to me. Ooh, it's hot in here, she said as she fanned her face a little with her hand. After cooling off a little, she turned to me and asked, So you from around here? Mr. Ellington? The door opened, the nurse holding my file. I bolted out of my seat into the hall where she pointed me to yet another waiting room, where I would finally get to see the doctor, and not a moment too soon.